Today on Gardening with Creekside, we are pruning some landscape roses and Panicle hydrangeas. Now, if you are new to the channel, remember we are in North Carolina, a zone 7B, and of course the wind just decided to pick up as we started the video, so hopefully everything is good. I'm telling you, again, if you're new or you've been here for a while, I just tell it how it is, full disclosure. So I recorded this whole video, doing great, did the whole thing, finished the video, realized I did not have my microphone on. So we're gonna try to save this video, even though maybe it won't come out exactly how I planned, it still will be very helpful and very informative. You just saw a lot of footage of me trimming these landscape roses. These in particular are David Austin roses because that is what I have here at the house. I am a relatively new rose gardener. This is only I just completed my second year being a rose gardener, going into my third. By no means am I an expert, but I want to share with you what I have learned growing roses here in North Carolina with the heat and the humidity, and just take you along, share what I know, and so hopefully it will help you in your rose journey as well. Before we get started too much into exactly what we did, there are two tools that you definitely need to have when you are going to be a rose gardener. One is a great pair of clippers. These are Felcos. These are a number 2, I believe, and if you're interested, you can check out our video description, and there is a coupon code there that you can go to Felco's website and you can order these. They are fantastic, definitely my favorite pruners. So get yourself a really good pair of hand pruners. Next, this is a relatively new investment for me, but my gosh, y'all, if you're going to grow roses, you need a pair of these. These are rose gauntlet gloves. They are basically, thorns cannot get into them because they are a nice leather. It is very soft and very supple. I got these at the end of the growing season last year and only had a chance to use them a couple of times. I got them from Gardener Supply. They're roughly about a little over $40. They are amazing. I actually had a thorn sticking in one of the gloves, could not even feel it. It's leather, this really soft, it's not restrictive, and so you can easily move. But if you're gonna grow roses, you're gonna have to prune roses. You're gonna have to be in there with your roses, and every rose has its thorn. So you're gonna have to be able to protect yourself. Like today, even though it's the beginning of January, it's in the upper 60s, and I'm in, a t-shirt. I wanna protect my skin so I wouldn't get just torn up. Fantastic. So highly recommend that you get a pair of those gloves if you are going to be, like I said, growing roses. Now, the thing about roses is that your roses, repeat bloomers, bloom on new growth. And I was doing a little bit of research. Just about every rose is going to bloom on new growth, with really the exception of like your old-fashioned climbing roses or heirloom climbing roses. So if you're in doubt, just use Professor Google and say, when do I prune? And then put in the name of your rose and it will tell you when to prune it. Again, David Austin. Love their website, love their social media, because they give you really great hands-on tips of how to take care of your roses. North Carolina, we are in the southeast portion of the United States. So whenever you order bare roots from David Austin, I'm sure the potted ones as well, mine are all bare roots, they give you a little planting guide, and in there it breaks it down by region and tells you what to do. Well, we are in January, and January is the time to prune these roses. All of the roses here, except for this one, are all what they call 1-year roses. That means they have just been in the garden for one growing season. This rose is a 2-year rose. If you remember, if you're a follower of Creekside, I had this one planted at the patio last year. I think you can visibly see the difference between this rose and these other two. All of these are the same type of rose. These are rhubarb dolls. I had them planted in a group of 3. I did it according to David Austin's website because I want these to grow as one massive rose bush. there is going to be a little bit of difference in how you prune from year 1 to year 2. Not a whole lot, because in year 1 and year 2, your roots are really still getting established. You're going to take your rose down to about 12 to 18 inches tall. You're going to remove any dead, dying, diseased, damaged stems. All your foliage needs to come off. You want your roses to be naked, right? No foliage on them whatsoever. Because they bloom on new growth, by pruning them back as soon as we get some consistent warm weather, which really for us will be like even 1st of March, I will start to see new buds, new growth pop out as far as my leaf buds. So they will pop out and they bloom on new growth. We're gonna have gorgeous flowers. So you take away those stems, take away all your foliage. If something's dead, you just snip it all the way back until you find some really nice, healthy stems in there. And then that's basically, this is it. So I have 3 groups of 3. So this is Rhubarb Doll. Then we have Susan Williams Ellis, which is a beautiful, lovely white flower. But you can tell that the Susan Williams Ellis, the Rhubarb Doll, is very different, right? So it has really deep, deep purple, reddish, almost black stems with tons of thorns on it. Grows completely different, and it is taller than my other 2 roses on each side. But the method of how you prune it is the exact same. You just take it all the way back 12 to 18 inches, and really, that's what I love about the David Austin website, is that they are very like-minded in how they give advice for gardening, and that even they don't say it specifically, you can tell that they understand that there's a lot of grace in gardening, and they have taken away the fear from me personally as a rose gardener, because they're like, just prune it back. You don't have to be specific. There's not a ton of research that says you have to cut it. Some people will say you cut the stem straight. Some people say you cut it at a slant. David Austin says, you know what, just as long as you're pruning it, you are fine. When in doubt, cut a little bit more on your rose than leaving too much. David Austin, again, I know I keep quoting it, but this is where I'm learning my information from. And I'm like, well, they're the growers and the breeders. They would know the most information, right? That you can't prune a rose too hard, basically, right? So it's better to over prune than to under prune. So we have Susan Williams Ellis, and then right here we have the Poet's Wife. And it's interesting because all 3 of these roses, like you can see that the Poet's Wife here seems to have more of an open, kind of a wide, that's all I can think of, is wide open habit on it, whereas the Susan Williams Ellis is definitely more straight up and upright. But by planting them this way, we're going to have them intertwine, and it's going to look like one giant rose. So really exciting. You want to make sure you can see that for the most part, I don't have a ton of leaves underneath my roses, because with us being in North Carolina, we have the heat and the humidity. Black spot is a very real common issue with roses. Even if they're like really disease resistant, it can still be a big issue, especially at the end of the summer. I can do great up until August, and then it's like, oh my gosh, where did you come from? So if you have any black spot the year before, that's why we're taking off all that foliage, and then you're cleaning up underneath your roses as much as possible. I know some of y'all just get all out of whack when you see me pull my leaves out of my flower bed, but these roses, just because of their habit, there was tons of leaves up in here. I blew them away, and guess what I found underneath? Big, huge, massive slugs. I was able to grab a picture of one. I'll throw it up there for you. Just ginormous slugs. That's not good for your garden. And I'm not gonna have any birds coming down in the middle of my roses, scratching in the leaves and eating those slugs. I want those out. Plus, because if the leaves have black spot on them, then they're just gonna sit here, and that's gonna get reintroduced into the soil for this coming growing season. I want those things out of here. So, nice and neat and tidy as far as the roses go. I know they're sticks, but it's still neat and tidy for me. While we're here, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. If you missed it, we had, when that the Arctic storm Elliott came through right before Christmas, we had some damage, and I think you can see probably because of my azaleas and my tea olives, they are brown. We got down to like 7 degrees, but the real kicker was the wind, like kind of the wind we're having right now, except it was extremely cold, massive wind gust that lasted for 24 hours probably. So you can see that my azaleas have just, desiccation is the word. They are just burnt. They are fried. They're chapped. And the plant is not dead. I hope I didn't lose my blooms for the spring season. Time will tell, but they will be okay. My tea olives, they got burnt as well. So my leaves are, some of them are brown. I'm not, again, worried about it because I will prune these in late spring and they will be fine. They just don't look so good right now. The rest of the bed, if you will remember, we have salvia in here and guara. We will see if Brenna decided she wanted to be a model for you right there. I saved the plant and she goes and sits in the middle of it. We will see how these fared with that 7 degree. If they come back, that's fine. We are going to move them out of here because we did this video, I did a video earlier, and the salvias just got way too big, too close to the roses. So whether they live or they die, they're coming out. If they die, then it saves me some work, honestly, but they're going to come out. I need this room for my roses to grow. And I think I'm going to go ahead and take my guara out as well, because the guara was really tall and wispy, which it was stunning. It was gorgeous, but I just didn't think the whole thing through with how big it was going to be compared to my roses. And I want things low here. We will handle that come springtime. We'll see what the salvia does, what the guara does, and we'll go from there. But when we were in here trimming this salvia, if you will remember, we planted some jonquils, and I know a couple of you have talked about that you have seen your jonquils starting to come up. Well, guess what? So are mine. So I have some, see those little green tips right here? Those are the little bulbs starting to come up. So they're in here periodically, and some people were really freaked out, like, what do I do? What do I do? You do nothing. You leave them alone. They are bulbs. It's a plant. They understand. If they come up and they get fried, they'll come back up again. It is fine. Now this bed, now that I've got the roses pruned, I am going to come back in here and do a small top dress of our compost pine bark mixture. And so that will help insulate it a little bit more and kind of slow them down a little bit. But if yours are popping up, like I have snowdrops that are blooming that were planted last year, this time last year. It is what it is, people. Just enjoy them. They'll be fine. Now, we also pruned our Panicle hydrangeas. I have 3 panicles right here on the back side of the fountain, just to kind of give you a whole perspective of where everything is. So the roses are directly in front of me, my 3 panicles, and then of course the patio. Jerry's getting ready to seal the patio, so if you're wondering why you have our furniture is all piled up, that's why. But Panicle hydrangeas, I have these 2 on each end. This is Little Lime Punch. Little Lime Punch was just gorgeous this year. That's all I can say. It was absolutely stunning. Massive, huge, iridescent, they like glowed in the late afternoon. Creamy white, beautiful blooms. They did turn a hint of pink, but when the heat of the summer came, they did turn brown for me. They were not that gorgeous red that the punch is known for. This year with my panicles, I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment, and probably late July, I'm going to come through and I'm going to snip some of my blooms, so that will encourage new growth. Hopefully, I definitely will have a time to get new flush, and hopefully they will turn pink. So Little Lime Punches, and then here we have pufferfish. Pufferfish has only been in the ground since this fall, and you can see that I just came through and gave it a little trim. Did not do any major cuts. You can see where it was cut last year when it was at Spring Meadow. This is where they pruned it. I came above and just took the tips off of it. Not a big severe prune at all. With your Panicle hydrangeas, you want to take them back by no more than 1/3 to 1/4. They bloom on new growth. So when you trim them, no matter how severe or how not severe, how small, they're going to flush out new growth. So I pruned pufferfish and little lime punch in the same way. Trimmed them back, so that encourages all that beautiful new growth, which means new flowers for me. So that is very exciting, very easy. I'm glad to have this portion of the flower bed neat and tidy. Jerry and I, if you remember just a couple of days, well, maybe it was yesterday, we've got jonquils all in here. So it is going to be a gorgeous spring. I do this trimming my hydrangeas and my roses in stages because I do have a good number of roses and hydrangeas. If I said I'm going to prune all my roses today, then that would be a really big job. So I'm going to take it step by step. Brenna's excited about something. So I'm going to take it step by step, section by section, and get it pruned. So like right over here, if you can see the rose arch, it too will need to be pruned, but I am going to do that another day. It will be a job unto itself to prune this. This is the Generous Gardener. There's two, one on each side, and so we will prune this on a separate day, as with my Limelight Prime hydrangeas. So lots going on here. It's no wonder I forgot to turn on my mic, because you know, it's just a wonderful wild mess around here. So hopefully you were able to learn a little bit of something in all of this great craziness today. It's been a fun day. It's been a gorgeous day. It's been nice and warm. I love it. T-shirt in January. It is fantastic. And so before anything else crazy happens, we're going to say goodbye. We'll see y'all in the next video. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. See you next time. Bye, friends.